Hey guys, welcome back to what I think is the either 7th or 8th episode and the final episode of the UDT Ghost Recon Wildlands drone recreation tutorial series. Now, we've finished up a majority of the things. There's just a couple little things that I want to change that are kind of improving the way it works. So I have a low battery warning and an out of signal range warning, and then also getting the compass in. So we'll start off the first two ones because they'll be nice and easy. So to do so, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get a text here. We're going to make this our out of signal range one, so we're going to bind this to the center of our screen and reset its position. And then we'll be changing that to negative 145. By, what is it, position, negative 290. We're going to change what it says to out of signal range. Then I'm going to make sure it's size to content. Seems like a fit. It could be a little lower, so we're going to go ahead and we'll make that to, let's go 85. Oops. 285. There we go. Now we're going to change the color so it's a nice red. It's a warning, you want it to be some kind of red. There we go. We're going to need another number, which will be our countdown one, or another text, sorry, which will be our countdown. So we go ahead, we'll make another one. We'll bind this to our middle again. The position on this one will now be 0, and then it'll be 210. We'll line it 0.5, 0.5. Oops, negative 210. Okay, so by default, we'll have this one say 5. Oops. And we'll also size that to content, and again, we will give it the color. We'll make sure we get the same color. So D, what is that? D2000FF. D2000FF. Alright. I'm just going to be lazy and copy paste the number. Kind of hard to see how many digits there were. That is now invisible. Definitely not the color we want. It's probably like 20,000 instead of 2,000. There we go. So now we need to go ahead, we need to find it. So we're going to click on signal of out of signal range. We're going to create a binding. We're going to call this one out of signal range. We're going to drag that out a bit. Then we are going to cast to drone. We're going to get player pawn. I'm going to drag out from here. We're going to get our max signal distance. We're then going to check if it's greater than 2000, 2000 being our max signal distance. We need a branch. And then if it is greater than that, then we'll make it say out of signal range. That's right. Compile, save that. Okay. Now the 5 we need to make a separate binding for. So we'll call this one create binding time out of signal. Drag that out so we have some space to work with again. We'll cast to drone. Get player pawn. Just going to save a copy of those. And then from here we're going to drag out, we're going to get our max signal distance. And we're going to get our max time. What do we call it? Oh, sorry, time out of signal. We're going to connect this one with greater than float, which will plug into a branch, and that is going to check if it's greater than 2000. Again, 2000 being our max signal distance. And then if it is greater than 2000, then we will connect this one here, and that will slowly count down in some code that we set up already over here. Not it? Right here. There we go. So now if we compile, save that, and then we press play, and come into my drone, you'll see it won't appear, but as we come out further and further, we get out of signal range. It says out of signal range, and it counts down 4, 3, 2, 1, and then our drone gets destroyed. So now we need one to warn for our battery. So we're going to come back into our designer here. I'm actually just going to go ahead and drag in another text box. I'm going to set the color to the same one we used earlier. So I'm going to make sure that we copy paste that so it looks the same. And then we're going to anchor this one to the bottom of our screen. I'm going to set its position to -300 by 150. Oh, actually that's wrong, sorry. 0 by -300. And then this one is by 150. We're going to size up the content 0.5 by 0.5. And then we'll make the text block just for the purpose of testing to see what it says, or to see how it fits. So say low battery. Give it a capital B. And then, as you can see, that seems to fit pretty well. So we now need to make a binding for that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to come under our text. We're going to create binding. We're then going to call this low battery warning. Okay, so now in our low battery warning, we're going to drag out. I'm going to come under here, and I'm just going to get my player pawn faster BP drone, just copy paste it. Ooh, pardon me. Just to save me having to write that one again. We're then going to get our drone battery, and then we're going to drag out and get a less than integer. I'm going to set this to 20. You can set this to whatever you like. And then we're going to branch, connect that there, and then if it's true, it will then say low battery. So what's happening here is it's checking to see if our drone battery is less than 20, and by default that's set to 60, sorry. If it is less than 20, it would then pop up with a little warning in our screen saying low battery. So if we now compile, save that, and come in here, we just let our drone do its thing for a little bit. You'll notice our battery ticking down. Once it gets to a third, it will then pop up saying low battery, and then it will slowly run out, and then beep, drone's dead. Well, you can see it resets and it's not there anymore. So that's the last of our little, I don't know, improving our drone, I guess you'd call it. Now the one main feature that we're missing is a compass. So now to add our compass, we're going to need to get another image. We go ahead and drag that in. We're also going to need to get our texture for our compass. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in as well. That will be below in the comments, so if you don't already have it, it's just this image here. You can go ahead and download that, and we'll drag that one in. And now we're actually going to need to do a couple things for this. We're going to set this to a user interface, and then make sure no minimaps is on. That should be it. Don't think there's anything else. Go ahead and save that, and then you'll have to turn that into a material now because we have to make it have some little special effects on it. So we're going to go ahead and create a material. I think we can actually drone, we can right click, there you go, create material, and then we'll leave it as it's called. We'll open that up. And then once we get in here, I honestly can't explain this too much. This was explained to me by someone else, so I don't quite understand how materials work. But I'm going to go ahead and mess up a little bit of space in between these two. And we're going to make a texture coordinate. Then drag out from that and go add. And then from B, we're going to drag out and go append. I don't know what it is actually. Is it a pen vector? Yeah, it's a pen vector. And then from here, we're going to right click and promote to parameter. We'll just leave that as is, and then we'll right click here and promote to parameter. And now for this one, give it a value of, I don't know, 1.4. We'll leave the other one default. And then we're going to need to get our texture sample, connect the UV. You'll notice now you can see it's starting to be applied. We're also going to drag out from here. We're going to go add. We're going to click this little pop down so you can see it a bit better. And once you click on it, you'll get a little option over here. So we're going to set const speed 0.5. And then we're going to drag out. We're going to get a cosine. Again, you can extend that so you can see that. We're going to drag it out. We're going to go multiply. Make that as our option B. And then option A will be connected to A up here. And then we're going to bring this all the way over here. And we actually need to change that. So currently, it's set to wrong thing. I forget which one of this we changed. Here we go. So you change surface to user interface. You'll notice that'll change this here, so we can connect final color. And then we can connect opacity here. And you can kind of see in our preview here what it's doing. It's fading the edges off a little bit. Now, assuming that I've set this all right, which it looks to be, then this should work. Just double checking. Okay. So now if we come back into here and we come under here and we find our material that we just made. Apparently I did something wrong. But if we change that to use the material we just made, we can then make a binding. We're going to create binding. And then under our graph. Oh, actually, sorry, we don't want a binding. We'll remove that. We just come under our graph, and then we can delete that one we just made. Come to our event graph, and then at the end of this, we haven't actually named. We'll call this roll crosshair. And then we drag out from the end of this one, and we're going to need to get a reference to our compass image. I haven't named yet, so I'll quickly name that. Come back in here, and then we'll go and get that reference we just got. Go set scalia. So what I want. Oopsie, that's not what we want actually. We need to make a reference to our dynamic material, which is what we just made. So we'll make a thing here, we call it compass material, a new variable, sorry. And then we need to get our material, so we have to find the, where is it? Here it is. Instance dynamic. And then we can drag that out. And then go set scale it parameter value, connect that. And then we have to call the one we called upon earlier. So that would be, come on down material again. Should be this top one. So it's A is what we've called it. So if we come back into our graph and set parameter name to capital A, and then the value of it would be our reference to our drone. We'll make a bit more space. And then we'll go cast to drone. Get player pawn. Just trying to get this to look neat. Let me drag out from here. And then we go get control rotation. And then we want to split that. And then from our Z axis, we're going to drag out. We're going to get a percentage. We're going to divide that by 360. We're going to plug that into our final value there. Then I'm going to call this one compass. Yeah. So now, yeah, so I was right. This has still got something wrong with it. I'll be back. I'm just going to figure out what I've done wrong with this material. Okay, so the problem was is that I just hadn't saved it actually. I forgot that at the end of coding the material, you have to make sure you save it to update it. Apparently moved everything out of position. What's going on here? There we go. So now we need to scale our compass up so it's actually big enough that we can see it. So I'm going to leave the position here as 0. We need to anchor it first. Let's anchor it to the top. We'll set that to 0. Position Y, make 50. And then we'll set X to 1000. Size to 100. And then we'll align it 0.5 and 0.5. There we go. Oh, and just for peace of mind, I'm going to set this to the size of this compass image. It's a little high still. I'm actually going to set that 100 so it comes down a bit. But you can see the difference here is that, see how it fades off at the end here? The actual image, if I come here, it's just the full one. So instead of having the full thing pop up, we're only seeing part of it, and then it the opacity gets lowered off, which gives it that fade off effect. So now you can see that it's got the compass there, and when I'm facing this direction, it's set to south. There's no correct. We need to now come on into... Okay, so now the last thing we need to do is we need to get our event construct and then drag out from that and then get our compass material. Oh, sorry, not a compass material. We need to get our compass image, so the reference to our image for our compass, and we go get dynamic material. We connect that. And then we get our, where is it? Our compass material. We set that and connect that there. So now if we save that, come back in here and press play, you'll see now our drone when we spawn in will be looking north, and then we can rotate around. We go to our right a bit, it's east. We go all the way behind us, it's south. Go even more, it's west, and then back to north. Anyway guys, that's the end of this episode. Now I was actually going to make this the final episode, but I remember that there's one thing that Ghost Recon Wildlands' drone system does where they can actually mark enemies. So say my character model here was an enemy, I'd be able to press a button and then that would put a little marker, so then when I then switch back to my player character I can run around and see that marker and know where the enemies are. Now I'm going to do a very basic system of this just to kind of show it off. You guys can improve upon it. But I will be doing that real quick in the next episode. So anyway guys, that's the end of this episode. If you enjoyed the video and all the other previous ones, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see any other content similar to this, where I make another game mechanic that you guys want to see, let me know down below in the comments what it is you'd like to see. Anyway, that's it for this episode. See you guys.